It's pretty hard to ignore the constant buzz around artificial intelligence these days,
Oh,
right?
definitely. It's everywhere.
Everywhere you look, everyone's talking about AI. But, it's easy to wonder, is all this chatter just hype? Or are we truly on the cusp of, like, profound, widespread change? Change that's going to reshape our jobs, our economy, even our daily lives.
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, if it is real, how can you, listening right now, prepare for what's coming?
That is precisely the core question, isn't it? And it's exactly what we're here to tackle today.
Okay.
Welcome back to another deep dive. We're going to try and cut through all that noise surrounding AI, give you a clear sense of its near future, and importantly, what that future might mean for you.
Right. And we got a pretty fascinating stack of sources for this one. Everything from official U.S. government strategy documents, some insightful commentary from top tech CEOs, lawmakers.
Yeah, and even candid discussions from people, working right on the front lines of AI development. It's a really diverse set of perspectives.
It is. It should give us a pretty comprehensive picture.
So our mission today is really to unpack these sources for you, try to separate the signal from the noise.
Okay.
We want to identify the key shifts that are already happening, highlight the major strategic bets being placed, and just help you understand what all of this means for your world, whether you're just curious about the headlines or maybe you're actively looking to navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
So helping people get genuinely well-informed and prepared.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The first thing that really jumps out from these sources, loud and clear, is this undeniable fact. The United States is, well, unequivocally in a fierce global race for dominance in AI.
Absolutely. It's framed very much as a race.
Yeah, this isn't just like a tech competition between companies anymore. It's seen as a strategic imperative,
Yeah.
a national thing.
Right. The country that leads in AI is widely expected to set the global standards for the technology and, in doing so, secure massive economic and security benefits for decades. It really is high stakes.
A truly high-stakes game for global influence.
And what's fascinating here, looking at the sources, is that while the big goal is singular maintaining and extending U.S. leadership, the actual approaches to get there have recently seen a pretty significant divergence within the U.S. government itself.
Ah, okay. So not everyone's on the same page about how to win the race.
It seems like there's been a bit of a pivot, yeah, from one distinct policy stance to something quite different now.
Okay, explain that. What are the different approaches?
Well, on one hand, you have the current Trump administration's America's AI Action Plan. It's pushing for what they describe as a new golden age of innovation, human flourishing, and technological achievement.
Right.
And its three core pillars are accelerating innovation, building AI infrastructure, and leading international diplomacy and security.
Okay, accelerate, build, lead. Seems straightforward.
But a really notable shift in this new direction is the explicit focus on speeding up AI development,
Ah.
actively removing what they see as federal roadblocks, perceived impediments.
Okay, so less friction, more speed.
Exactly. And this includes a very significant move, revoking a 2023 executive order that had previously put a big emphasis on safety and ethics in AI development.
Wow. Okay, so safety takes a backseat to speed.
Well, this new strategy definitely champions things like open source models, fewer restrictions on development, and it explicitly pushes back against what it calls ideological bias or woke AI.
Woke AI.
Mm.
What does that actually mean in this context?
So there's even a new executive order outlining principles for truth-seeking and ideological neutrality in large language models, LLMs, used by the federal government. The sources mention examples where AI models were seen as maybe altering historical figures or refusing certain user requests based on DEI principles.
The EI being diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Right. So a push for perceived neutrality.
Right, and it's important to contrast this with the approach before these recent shifts.
Yeah, what was the Biden administration's stance? They had emphasized a much more safety-centric approach. They outlined a whole series of comprehensive guardrails for responsible AI use, things like robust risk management, evaluations, accountability frameworks, transparency requirements.
All more focus on controls and potential downsides.
Exactly. Their explicit warning was that misusing advanced AI could potentially bolster authoritarian regimes, undermine democratic institutions globally, maybe even facilitate human rights abuses.
So a very different set of concerns being prioritized there.
Very different. That previous approach directed the AI Safety Institute at NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, to do voluntary safety testing on these frontier AI models.
Testing for what kind of risks?
things like cybersecurity vulnerabilities, biosecurity threats, even the potential misuse for, say, chemical weapons development. It also really highlighted the National Science Foundation's role in funding basic AI research.
Okay, so we've gone from a safety-first guardrails approach to an accelerate-first remove roadblocks approach. That's quite a shift.
It's a profound shift. And it brings us to what lawmakers are openly calling a crucial fork in the road for the U.S. in its AI strategy.
A fork in the road. Choose a path.
Yeah, the choice being presented is essentially, do we embrace entrepreneurial freedom and push for rapid innovation above all else? Or do we adopt what some call more stringent command and control policies, kind of like what we've seen in Europe?
Ah, the EU AI Act and that sort of thing.
Exactly. And the argument presented in our sources is pretty strong that heavy-handed regulations like those in the EU actively stifle innovation.
Is there evidence for that claim in the sources?
Well, one report cited blames Europe's, quote, nasty regulatory approach for the stark fact that only about 6% of global AI startup funding goes to EU firms,
Only 6%. Wow, compared to what for the U.S.?
compared to a staggering 60% for American companies.
60%. Okay, that is a huge disparity. 6% versus 60%.
It's a
But what does that really tell us beyond the policy differences? It feels like it highlights this poor tension. Speed versus safety, maybe. Leading the race might mean fewer immediate guardrails or vice versa.
That's exactly the tension. And the insight for you listening might be recognizing this isn't just political talk, it's a strategic gamble. It has profound implications for how quickly AI evolves here compared to elsewhere.
And the urgency, you can feel it in the sources, can't you? From industry leaders, from lawmakers.
Oh, it's absolutely palpable. They stress that while the U.S. leads today, that leadership is, and I quote, absolutely not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed.
It's described not just as a race, but as the global race that will shape the outcome of national security and economic prosperity for many decades to come.
Wow. Decades to come.
Yeah. The key question isn't just if the U.S. leads, but whose technology, American or Chinese, will ultimately be most broadly adopted in the rest of the world.
So it's about setting the global standard, becoming the default. That paints a picture of really intense, defining competition.
Absolutely. And as this high-stakes race unfolds, the sources make it crystal clear that American AI dominance isn't just about clever algorithms or brilliant minds.
Right, it's more than just the software.
Much more. It hinges on three really tangible foundational pillars. These massive infrastructure demands, the relentless energy challenge that comes with it, and cultivating top-tier talent.
Infrastructure, energy, talent,
Yeah.
the physical and human building blocks.
Exactly. These are the resources that will determine who truly leads this next technological revolution.
Okay, so it's not just a battle of wits, but a huge logistical and resource challenge. Let's dig into that first pillar, infrastructure. Because when we talk about AI's hunger for power, it's incredibly literal, isn't it?
Oh, unbelievably so. AI requires just immense computational power, highly specialized infrastructure, these vast data centers, cutting-edge chips.
And the speed of the demand is just hard to grasp.
It's staggering. Since 2018 alone, the computing power needed for the most advanced AI models has multiplied roughly 100,000-fold.
100,000 times. Seriously.
Seriously. 100,000 times. It's almost exponential growth in demand.
Okay, give us a sense of the scale then. What does that look like on the ground?
Well, consider Project Stargate. That's OpenAI and Oracle in Abilene, Texas. It represents a $500 billion investment.
$500 billion. With a T.
Yep, $500 billion, specifically for U.S. infrastructure. And the goal is nothing less than building the world's largest AI training facility.
The world's largest.
And then you have companies like CoreWeave. They're an AI hyperscaler basically providing massive computing infrastructure for AI. They operate over 30 data centers across 15 states already.
30 data centers. How much power are we talking?
They manage over 250,000 GPUs and consume about 360 megawatts of power. These aren't just large operations. They're like entirely new-scale industrial complexes dedicated to computation.
Which naturally leads us straight to the energy challenge. You can't run all that without juice.
Exactly. This aggressive expansion demands an equally robust and, crucially, available power supply. Some projections suggest these data centers alone could account for up to 12% of total U.S. electricity demand in the near future.
12%. That's a huge slice of the national grid just for data centers.
It's a significant growing chunk.
So how do we meet that demand? What are the hurdles?
Well, a major hurdle, mentioned frequently in the sources is the permitting process for new energy projects and also chip manufacturing facilities.
Bureaucracy, red tape.
Kind of.
Good.
Take federal wetlands permits, for example. They alone can take 18 to 24 months to get approved.
A year and a half to 2 years.
Yeah.
Just for one permit.
Yeah, and that's significantly longer than state or local permits, which might take 6 to 9 months. This isn't just an annoyance, it's a critical bottleneck. It directly impacts how fast the U.S. can scale its AI infrastructure.
It slows us down in that global race we talked about.
Precisely. It slows down our ability to meet these growing energy demands.
So what about the energy sources themselves? Where will all this power come from?
Well, the discussion is pretty broad. Today, about 56% of U.S. electricity comes from carbon-emitting sources, 44% from carbon-free, like nuclear, wind, solar.
Okay.
And while there's clear acknowledgement of the rapid growth in wind and solar,
Which we hear a lot about.
right, but there's also a strong emphasis in these strategy documents on an all-of-the-above energy approach. That includes natural gas and even exploring advanced tech like small modular nuclear reactors, SMRs, and eventually fusion energy as longer-term solutions.
So keeping all options on the table to meet the demand.
That seems to be the strategy.
Yeah.
And what's particularly interesting is how some tech companies are reacting. Microsoft, for example.
What are they doing?
They're stepping up and taking direct responsibility, apparently. They're investing proactively to actually help bring more electricity onto the grid.
Investing in the grid itself, not just consuming power.
Yeah. They've even proposed rate increases on themselves, specifically to cover grid improvements.
On themselves, so they pay more to upgrade the grid for everyone.
That's the idea, yeah. Explicitly aiming to avoid raising costs for residential ratepayers. It's quite a move.
That is interesting. It shows how seriously they view this bottleneck.
It does. And they're also focusing heavily on water use. Microsoft has a stated goal to be water positive, replenishing more water than they consume. They're using things like advanced closed-loop liquid cooling in their data centers.
Okay, so acknowledging the environmental footprint alongside the energy needs, that's a proactive step.
It seems so.
Okay, so beyond the massive infrastructure and the huge energy demands, the third crucial pillar you mentioned was talent.
Yes, cultivating talent. Maintaining leadership requires continued aggressive investment in a skilled workforce.
What kind of skills are we talking about? It's not just coders, right?
Not at all. The U.S., for example, needs, according to one source, hundreds of thousands of new electricians just to build and maintain these data centers and energy facilities.
Wow, electricians. That's fundamental.
Absolutely. And then, of course, a vast pipeline of hardware engineers, software developers, application developers, the whole tech ecosystem.
And where does this talent come from? Is it all homegrown?
Well, attracting global talent is seen as absolutely crucial. The sources highlight streamlining visa processing for highly skilled AI experts and researchers from abroad as a key component.
So making it easier for the best minds worldwide to come and work here.
Exactly. Ensuring the best and brightest can contribute to the U.S. ecosystem.
And what about education within the U.S.? Are universities stepping up?
They play a vital role. Take the University of Michigan, for instance. They're providing generative AI tools to their entire student body.
The entire student body. That's a big move.
Yeah, preparing them for this new world right from the start. And our national laboratories are consistently mentioned, too.
Right, places like Argonne, Oak Ridge.
Exactly. They're highlighted as, quote, crown jewels for scientific discovery and a foundation for tech leadership. Companies like OpenAI and AMD partner extensively with these labs.
Using their supercomputers.
Yep, using supercomputers like Aurora at Argonne to accelerate scientific research, develop new applications, and the impact is apparently huge. AI tools are making scientists multiples more effective.
Multiples more effective. That's staggering. It really changes how we think about scientific progress, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's not just doing the same thing faster. It's potentially changing how discoveries are made, how problems are solved. It's like giving scientists a superpower almost.
A superpower. Okay. That profound shift, that potential,
Yeah.
it leads us right into the next big area.
Mm-hmm.
How do we manage all this? How will we regulate this rapidly advancing field? And how does American AI spread globally while we deal with the societal impacts?
Exactly. That's the critical overarching question. It brings us to the regulatory tightrope, global diffusion, and the broader societal implications for everyone.
The regulatory tightrope. I like that term.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a balancing act, right?
Very much so. Industry leaders, based on our sources, largely advocate for a light-touch regulatory approach. Meaning they emphasize that over-regulation, especially things like requiring pre-approval for new AI models before they can be released, would be, quote, disastrous. They argue it would effectively choke innovation before it even gets going.
So the fear is that too much caution kills the golden goose of innovation.
That's the argument being made, yeah. And there's also a very strong concern about ending up with a patchwork of different state-level regulations.
Ah, like California does one thing, Texas does another.
Precisely. A good example mentioned is California's defeated bill, SB 147, which would have imposed significant state-specific rules. Having lots of different rules across states is seen as tremendously burdensome for companies operating nationally.
Yeah, compliance would be a nightmare, making it, as one source said, difficult to imagine operating effectively.
Right. So while direct federal government pre-approval seems largely unpopular with the industry.
They don't want Washington signing off on every new model.
No, but there is a strong consensus that standards are needed.
Okay, standards, not necessarily top-down pre-approval. Who sets the standards?
Organizations like NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, working in collaboration with industry experts, could play a crucial role here. Adopting common standards.
What would that achieve?
It would provide a kind of common vocabulary for AI development and deployment. And the thinking is that this would actually accelerate both development and broad adoption.
Like how common internet protocols help the web grow.
Exactly like that. Think TCP/IP for the internet. Standards enabled interoperability and massive growth.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about getting US AI out into the world? Global diffusion and export controls. You mentioned a pivot earlier.
Yes, a fundamental pivot, according to the sources. This relates to the Trump administration's decision to scrap the previous AI diffusion rule.
What did that rule do?
It had capped exports of advanced AI chips to certain Tier 2 countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE.
Okay, so it limited where the most powerful chips could go, and the new strategy removes that cap.
Essentially, yes. The new strategy fundamentally prioritizes promoting widespread adoption of U.S. technologies and the entire U.S. AI stack, the chips, the software services, the data centers globally.
Why the change? What's the goal?
The underlying goal seems clear: to box out Chinese technology, to actively prevent a repeat of scenarios like Huawei dominating 5G infrastructure and many allied nations.
Ah, so it's about market share and influence, competing directly with China's tech stack.
Precisely. The aim is to export American AI tools and infrastructure widely to allied nations. The idea is to have controls that are, quote, simple, easy to follow, easy to enforce, controls that prevent diversion to adversaries like China or Russia, but allow broad access for allies.
Promote U.S. tech everywhere else to counter China's influence.
That's the strategy. And we've already seen glimpses of how intense this competition is. Remember the DeepSeek example?
Vaguely. Refresh my memory.
It was a Chinese open-source AI model that, for a brief time, actually surpassed ChatGPT in downloads.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it raised significant awareness that China is a formidable, rapidly advancing competitor. While U.S. models are generally still seen as superior, policymakers are acutely aware that putting too many constraints or restrictions on U.S. tech could just push other countries towards Chinese alternatives.
So if U.S. tech is too hard to get or use, others might just turn to China's offerings. Makes sense.
It's a delicate balance they're trying to strike.
Okay, so as AI spreads globally and digs deeper into every sector, it inevitably brings huge impacts to our daily lives, things we're only just starting to grapple with.
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really personal for listeners.
Let's start with productivity and jobs. That's often top of mind for people, right?
Definitely. And the sources show AI is already significantly boosting productivity. We talked about scientists being 2 to 3 times more productive.
Right, the superpower effect.
Yeah. And programmers are fundamentally changing how they work, becoming much more efficient. But the key differentiator here, compared to past tech revolutions, is the sheer speed of this change.
It's happening much faster than, say, the Industrial Revolution or the early internet.
Much faster. And the goal, as highlighted in the sources, isn't necessarily just to displace work, but to enhance it, to put these powerful AI tools directly into people's hands.
Augmentation, not just automation.
Exactly. Early adoption is seen as crucial, so society can adapt, people can reskill, and we can leverage these capabilities rather than just being overwhelmed by them, making individuals more effective.
Okay, but then there's the darker side. What about misinformation deepfakes?
Yeah.
That seems like a huge challenge.
It's a massive challenge. While AI hallucinations, when models just make stuff up or get things wrong or improving, the core problem of verifying content remains.
How do we know if that image or video is real?
Well, one suggestion gaining traction is a labeling regime for AI-generated content images, video, audio, using standards like C2PA.
C2PA.
It stands for the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity. It's basically a technical standard to track the origin and any edits made to digital content. The idea is to help you, the consumer, know what you're actually looking at. Is it AI generated? Has it been
Is
altered?
it like a digital watermark or label? That could
It
hit.
could, but the concern about malicious deepfakes is growing fast. Using someone's unauthorized likeness for scams or promoting harmful content like anti-Semitism.
That seems really hard to stop.
Generating it might be hard to stop completely, yeah. But there's a recognition that the distribution channels, social media platforms, etc., can and probably should have guardrails in place to limit the spread and impact of harmful deepfakes.
Okay, tackling distribution, not just generation. What about bias and discrimination baked into the algorithms?
That's another critical issue. Algorithms can be biased, often unintentionally, and cause real-world discrimination. The industry says it's working diligently to guard against this.
But is that enough?
Well, there are increasing calls for actual legislation, something like an AI Civil Rights Act.
An AI Civil Rights Act, what would that do?
The idea is to ensure algorithms are thoroughly vetted for harmful bias before they're deployed widely, and to hold companies accountable if their AI systems cause harm, especially to marginalized communities.
Putting the onus on companies to prove their AI is fair before it affects people.
That's the concept. Then there's privacy.
Always a concern with tech, but how is AI changing the game?
It creates a new critical privacy dimension. AI systems are becoming incredibly personalized. They learn by collecting more and more information from users.
Okay.
And this could impact deeply personal areas, AI providing emotional support or life advice, ensuring you, the user, have real control over what data you share and how it's used is becoming paramount, especially when the AI feels like a companion or advisor.
Right, the lines blur. User control over data is key.
Hmm.
What about cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity. AI is definitely a double-edged sword here.
How so?
Well, offensively, it can automate sophisticated phishing attacks, help create new malware faster than ever. It makes the bad guys more efficient. But defensively, it's also an indispensable shield. AI can detect and respond to threats much faster and more effectively than humans can alone.
So it's an arms race between offensive AI and defensive AI.
Pretty much. Which is why strong federal funding for cybersecurity initiatives and intelligence agencies is seen as absolutely essential to maintain that critical defensive edge.
Okay, one more area before we wrap up. Accessibility. Does everyone need super fast internet to benefit from AI?
That's a good question. While robust broadband is always helpful, AI systems can actually benefit low connectivity areas too.
How does that work?
By doing the heavy lifting, the intense processing in the cloud on those powerful servers we talked about, then only sending the smaller results or data packages back to the user's device.
So it offloads the hard work. That could help bridge digital divides.
Potentially, yes. Yeah, imagine AI transforming how you interact with the government, making things instantaneous, seamless. Filing taxes, applying for permits, getting healthcare support.
Less friction, less waiting, less bureaucracy.
That's the potential. A dramatic improvement in citizen experiences. It could be truly enormous.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground. From the global race and national strategy shift to infrastructure, energy, talent, regulation, and all these societal impacts.
It's a huge topic with so many facets.
So after digging through all these sources, what really stands out to you? What's the big picture takeaway?
For me, it's that AI is absolutely unequivocally far from just hype. It feels like a definitive mandate now, shaping everything: global power, national security, our energy grid, our jobs, our daily interactions.
Yeah, it's not if anymore, it's how and how fast.
Exactly. We are clearly in a global race. The U.S. is actively pursuing these ambitious policies, innovation, infrastructure, talent to stay ahead.
But, as we discussed, alongside these huge opportunities come really critical, complex discussions about smart regulation, about how society adapts to workforce changes, about the ethics of it all.
Right. It's not just a technological shift. It feels like a truly transformative moment that's going to touch pretty much every aspect of our lives.
Yeah, it's not just about the tech itself, as it feels bigger.
It feels like a fundamental shift in human history, perhaps. As these AI tools become capable of things we can't even fully grasp yet, the question becomes personal.
How so?
Well, how will you, listening now, leverage this coming wave of, as some call it, abundant intelligence? Not just to adapt, not just to survive the
Is
changes.
to actively use it.
Yeah, to actively redefine what's possible in your own life, in your work, in the world around you. That's the really profound question we're all left to explore, isn't it?